Alright guys, welcome back to Formula 1 news, and ahead of the Austrian Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc has responded to rumours that all is not well within the Ferrari camp, saying that no, the engineers are not revolting internally and are not frustrated with the team situation, despite rumours to the contrary over the past couple of days. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Loads of new support yesterday, plenty to discuss today. Firstly, I wanted to discuss driver rumours for the grid for 2023. Loads are going on about this lately. We've apparently heard that, okay, Latifi's going to be gone. Is it going to be, of course, Piastri, currently on Alpine, their reserve driver, Formula 2 reigning champion, going to be stepping into that Williams seat, or is he actually going to go into the Alpine seat? Because Fernando Alonso says that he's going to kind of delay negotiations with Alpine, or doesn't really mind about delaying negotiations until the summer break, probably because he thinks, well, he's driving formally right now and is, you know, the faster of the two Alpine drivers at the moment, and feels like he should not have an issue renegotiating. That might not necessarily be the case, though. So Joe Soward comes out with the green notebook, and a lot of interesting things discussed here. So there's obviously, quite the essay in front of you. I'll break it all down and kind of what the key points are. So rumor has it right now that Vettel might not be on the grid in 2023. Look, it's been frustrating with Aston Martin. He said as well that, look, the car's going to need to improve significantly over these coming races, or he might just call it quits. I'm not sure there's going to be a seat open for him. Really, at the age of 35, he might just step away at the end of this year. It would be kind of sad, but Aston Martin just hasn't been it really the last, well, at least this season so far, and even their performance this year is much reduced from where it was last year in terms of points. They've only got 10, 15 points this year, and last year at the same time they had 40 or 50. Interesting rumours that Mick Schumacher might be heading into that Aston Martin seat if Vettel does go away, which is kind of surprising in a way, right? Because the kind of rumour was that maybe Haas don't want Schumacher anymore, a few weeks ago at least, because he keeps crashing the car, but now he's got his first points, and there was talk about, okay, maybe Ferrari, their relationship with Haas will force Haas to keep Schumacher, but apparently Mick might go to Aston Martin in place of Vettel, because of course their relationship is very well known. Pretty sure Mick even said a few days ago that his father Michael Schumacher was to Vettel what Vettel is to him, which I thought was quite the statement really. So look, who knows if that'll happen, but apparently that's a possibility. There is much interest as well in what is going on right now with Alpine. So there's no decision yet apparently about the driver lineup next year. Ocon is still under contract until the end of 2024. Alonso's contract finishes this year, so Ocon is probably going to stay, but of course they've got Oscar Piastri on the contract right on their reserve driver situation, that they can't afford to not give him a seat next year, because if they don't, he is going to go elsewhere. Now, where does he potentially go? Because if they don't give him a seat in Alpine, which seems to be the more promising or likely possibility, right? They want to keep Ocon, surely Alonso's going to stay, but then again, they don't want to lose Piastri and lose the option there. So either they agree some sort of arrangement with another team. Rumour had it he was going to join Williams in place of Latifi, and as Joe points out, dropping Alonso in favour of Piastri would be very controversial, and I'm sure Alonso would find another seat elsewhere, but maybe not a team that's quite so competitive as Alpine are so far this season. And of course, the only real option on the face of it is to join Williams, but apparently Mark Webber, who is Piastri's manager, is a cunning fellow and also a mate of his former Porsche colleague Andrea Seidel, now team principal of McLaren. Apparently, Seidel is interested in Piastri as well. So the two options right now for Oscar Piastri seem to be either Williams for Latifi's seat. I think it was also linked to Nick de Vries, but seemingly Piastri would have the option for that seat if Alpine and Williams could come to an agreement, or he can actually go to McLaren, right? Because Daniel Ricciardo's seat is by no means confirmed. He had a good couple of races, Baku and before that as well, but Silverstone again was a massive struggle. And apparently Ricciardo has a McLaren contract for the next year, but it is only fair to say he's been a disappointment. One might conjecture McLaren might offer him an elegant exit by putting him to IndyCar, but they've got Pato O'Ward, Alexander Rossi and Alex Palou over there that might well be their driver lineup next year. So there's no guarantees that Ricciardo's going to stay next year, despite the fact that he does still have another year on his deal. So apparently Piastri to McLaren, it could be an option as well. So they've got to think about this, right? Because Alpine has already lost Guanyu Zhou to Alfa Romeo, and therefore they're, I'm sure, thinking we don't want to lose Piastri as well, given the talent that he can be. So what do we do with Alonso? So these are the key questions that are being raised right now. I think everything's going to come together over the coming weeks. There has been rumours as well about Colton Herta stepping in from the IndyCar series at Andretti, I'm pretty sure, over into Ricciardo's seat in McLaren, but that might not happen this year. More than likely won't happen if he is coming into 2024. So lots of stories about that. Hopefully that was a good breakdown of the present rumours. Let's talk about, of course, this weekend. It's, race week again. We're in Austria for the race. These are some of the rear wing allocations that these teams are going with for the Red Bull Ring. Now, of course, this was the big storyline, one of the big storylines after an incredible Silverstone Grand Prix was Carlos Sainz, of course, winning his maiden Grand Prix. And you can see here on the side of the railing, you've got a relatively few Ferrari engineers that what you might expect to have right here for someone's maiden victory, right? It was a big talking point of the weekend. Why were there not so so many Ferrari guys there, and it turned out after the fact there were some rumours circulating that there was some sort of dissent within the ranks, and some of Leclerc's engineers were not at all happy with the internal state of Ferrari, the decisions that were being made, and the fact that Leclerc was being costed by the decisions under the safety car, and it certainly didn't create the greatest picture of, of course, supporting the team as a whole, as opposed to just kind of supporting the individual driver, who of course is kind of their number one, even though they don't say it, and his world championship aspirations, which are falling away race after race at this point, especially going to the Red Bull ring, where Verstappen and Red Bull should certainly be favoured. This was noted as well, though, the fact that it's not always the case that Ferrari have a load of engineers. This is the Melbourne Grand Prix, Leclerc's last victory actually this year, where there were relatively few Ferrari engineers as well right here, but you've also got to consider the fact that, for Sainz's maiden Grand Prix victory, you'd have thought that there would have been maybe more people there to celebrate it, and the fact that the podium was delayed was raising a lot of questions. Now, Leclerc, of course, has been asked to comment on this in the press conferences today, and he says, "I still believe in the World Championship. I know how much everyone is pushing to win. There is and never will be a trust issue within this team." Going on to say that at least there's been some rumours that Leclerc and kind of Binotto have had some clearing the air talks to make sure that he's okay. Of course, we saw the image of him kind of whacking the finger at Leclerc. Apparently, what Leclerc said about that was that, Binotto recognised that Leclerc was feeling very frustrated, and he said, "Look, you had a great race. You drove really well, like a chin up effectively," even though that's not really what it seemed like he was saying, just based on the body language. But of course, that's a difficult thing to analyse. That's kind of what he was trying to explain in this situation right here. But he does go on to say as well the following things: "You could or maybe should be leading the championship," he was asked, and he says, "Well, obviously it's a big if. I think lots of people could be leading the championship, but it is true that there has been the potential to win, and still is the potential to win this season. I still believe in it as much as I did before," he says, and then goes on to say the following, denying the rumours of that part of his team didn't want to take part in Carlos's win photo. Now, I don't think it was I think there were some rumours about not wanting to take part in the photo shoot, which happened about 2.5 hours after, which did seem a little bit strange, right, that it took so long for the photo to happen. But I think it was mainly the pit wall stuff, right? You'd have thought the entire team might have gone out there to congratulate Sainz, but still, as Charles says, look, Charles Leclerc isn't going to come out and say, "Yeah, actually, that there is a bit of dissent. My engineers are going rogue. They really hate Binotto. They want this guy's head." He's not going to say that, is he? He's going to try and put a lid on things. He's a sensible guy in that sense. But still, you've got to wonder whether there is anything behind these words. But look, Leclerc's going to come out and deny it, of course, understandably so. But whether there is anything here, you guys can read between the lines. Well, you can try and figure that one out. So it's a shame to see all of these types of things, because it's definitely not happening inside the team. We are a very united team. We always have been. It's not the difficult races that will make it change. Speaking about last weekend, we were 1-2, finished 1-4. So of course, some part of the team were disappointed, but that was definitely not the reason or whatsoever for not everyone being on the picture, saying that apparently half of the team that were in the picture missed the plane. They were struggling to find Carlos. He wasn't there, so we had to delay everything. No hard feelings or whatsoever, right? So yes, that's what he's going to say. Whether I fully believe it, I'm not absolutely sure I do. But at the same time, all it really takes is one good weekend for Ferrari to get back in business, right? If they can have a clean weekend around here in Austria, and let's say that they win this Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring, right? Verstappen is clearly the favourite. The Red Bull as a car is very much well designed for a circuit like this, and Verstappen's a monster around this track individually. Already won it, I believe, 4 times. We'll see that here in a second. But if Ferrari come through, have a clean weekend, and Leclerc wins this race, they will certainly believe the championship is back on. But I'm sure his engineers are getting frustrated, because there's been many times this season where Leclerc's pretty much not made a mistake. I think if you actually look at the amount of mistakes that Verstappen's made compared to Leclerc, Verstappen might have made more, right, in terms of qualifying and other race situations. Verstappen's made a few mistakes, but he's got away with it. And Leclerc has not really made too many mistakes. He's made a couple, most certainly, but most of his lost points are coming from team decisions that happened again last weekend. And I'm sure it is kind of compounding within the team and his engineers that are getting frustrated with it, even though, okay, the Sainz victory is good for the team, but still, over the last 5 races, Mercedes have scored more points than Ferrari. And based on the addition of the new technical directive, there's no guarantees that Ferrari is still going to be, up there with the strongest teams by the end of the year, right? Who knows how development is going to take these teams? So whether Ferrari have squandered their opportunity again, that's a big question mark. But as I say, it just takes one victory, really, a confidence-building weekend, to get the team back on track. This, of course, weekend in Austria, we go again. This is actually a sprint weekend, right? So tomorrow is practice 1 and qualifying, then the Saturday is the sprint race, and then Sunday is the race itself. And what that does mean, there's a lot of points actually up for grabs right here. So 8 more championship points up for grabs for the winner of the sprint race. We saw that last time out in, Imola, right, where they pretty much maximized their point potential from that weekend. Red Bull got so many points on the weekend because they won the sprint race, and of course, they won the race itself. Verstappen already on course for potentially his 5th victory this weekend, will actually equal this weekend Mark Webber's kind of number for Grand Prix with Red Bull at 129. So that's rather an incredible number as well. But yeah, that is of course, this weekend. Definitely intrigued your perspective on all this stuff in the comment section below. And this just to kind of break down what's going on. FP1 and qualifying tomorrow, FP2 in the sprint race on the Saturday, and then the race, of course, on Sunday, the 10th of July. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new as always, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.